what better way to start our second podcast is to laughing at stupid shit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
uh, well, to follow our kind of lead of stories, I think Eric has a pretty good story he wants to tell. Maybe not want to relive or anything, but
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know we were talking about it, but I got one of those apps that like cleans up all the photos that you have saved on your phone. It's like Tinder but for photos. You just swipe one way or the other. I can't remember which way. But like keep, get rid of, whatever.
That sounds more entertaining than the old-fashioned way of select,
right?
Delete.
Yeah. So I was going through there and came across some old photos of back when I wrecked my truck when we were falling down, and got me thinking about it again. I know we kind of talked about it, I think, a little bit on that first episode that we did, but
very, very slightly.
Yeah, that was like a pretty crazy event that happened. So what was that? Christmas Eve, 2022, middle of probably the worst snowstorm that we've had in our area in a decade.
I would say so. There's the most recognizable one that was 79, I think, and we had like it shut everything down.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't that bad,
but it was for Ohio. It's definitely
yeah. I mean that was the first. So like here we got like levels of snow emergencies, level 1, 2, and 3, and we've only hit level 3 like twice in the last 10 years, and I think that was one of 2 times. But everything was shut down. So Christmas Eve 2022, big snowstorm for our area. In some places, they'd be laughing at us, saying like, "Oh, that's every other Tuesday."
They'd be like, "Yeah, it's a dusting. That's nothing. You're just a bunch of babies."
But it was sub-zero before wind chill, and then 30-mile-an-hour consistent winds, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. So super cold. Salt wasn't working. The city couldn't keep up with the roads, and the snow drifts were pretty insane. I know, like we were out plowing, and we'd get through a parking lot, and there'd be times where it's like you couldn't even tell that you plowed just because there was so much snow drifting around.
Yeah, the piles where you pushed it was pretty much the only indicator that you were even there.
Because the temps were so cold, it was difficult to get the salt to melt anything off. Even though we were using treated salt, so it worked to lower temps, but it was still just slow acting. So at that point, we'd been out for 2 days through that whole storm.
And that's probably being nice.
Yeah,
it was probably longer than that.
And earlier that day, your plow had broken. Can't remember if it blew the hydraulic line or if it was the ram that was stopping it from going up and down.
It broke so many times that I don't actually remember which one it was, but I want to say that it was the motor.
Yeah, it was the motor that time. Yeah.
It basically said, rest in peace, I'm out.
Yeah. And then that same storm, our sidewalk machine broke because of the cold temps, and then the skid loader wouldn't stay running because of the cold temps.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And of course, it was a rental.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to help us in any way. It's like, it's cold. What are we going to do?
Yeah. So we were running, and I'll see if I have pictures of this, but basically that winter we had a big office building, and we had a 40-foot shipping container in the parking lot there that we kept salt in and kept the skid loader and sidewalk machine inside of for events. We had someone helping us intermittently with sidewalks. He wasn't super reliable, especially as the winter dragged on. He would show up sometimes and not show up other times. And so we ended up putting like those big propane heaters in the shipping container, just letting it run to try to warm up the skid loader to get it warm enough so we could reload on salt. And then while we were doing that was when your plow broke the first time. And we'd kind of gotten it working, like we ratchet strapped it up so you could at least drive, and made it work. That was like getting late into the afternoon. I finished up some plowing, I think, and you had gone back to the shop to try to get that fixed up.
Try to diagnose it and try to figure out what it was, yeah.
Thankfully, we had an extra motor on hand. So you were able to start getting it apart and getting that swapped. By the time I made it back over to the shop, it was already dark outside, and we weren't fully done, but we were done enough, and all of our customers were going to be closed on Christmas, so we were going to be able to go home, at least spend Christmas morning with our families, and go from there. We did have another storm coming in on the 26th, so it was like we had a little bit of a lull between storms, um, but nothing too crazy as far as downtime. So it wasn't like we could do everything that needed to be done.
It was definitely more of a hope and dream to go home and not think about it for a second.
Yeah.
When you figure that stuff's broken and you're just, because I think it was the motor had gone bad and then the wiring stayed.
The wiring burnt up when the motor went out.
Yeah. So it was basically,
So you had to rewire the plow and get the motor up and running, replaced, and then up and running. Yeah, I remember that now.
And I think some of that fun was, okay, it's Christmas Eve, and nobody's open.
Didn't have the right tools, didn't have all the right parts, so we were
Where get the wiring at?
Cutting other wiring harnesses apart with heavy-duty cable, soldering it together to just try to make whatever work that we could. So speaking of not having the right tools, I don't remember what tool it was, but there was a tool. So at the shop that we were at that point, it was like 10 minutes from where I was living. And there was some tool that we needed, and I had something similar at my house, but we didn't have the right tool either at the shop or even at my house, but I had something that would maybe work at my house. And at that point, we were both just tired and pissed off. And I remember you saying something along the lines of like, if I can't fix this plow in the next hour, I'm just saying fuck it, and I'm not even gonna work this next storm. And
sounds like over caffeinated, lack of sleep, is broken again, or any number of just add the list. And
yeah,
that's probably a very accurate response to anything like that.
So I know at that point, like I was frustrated. I was ready to go home, and I hopped in my truck and started driving home to get that tool.
Not to mention peeled out of the parking lot.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was definitely agitated at that point. So driving a lot faster than I should have been. Got out onto the main road, which went right along a big open farm field, and was going south. There were a couple snow drifts like in the road there, but nothing major. And then I could easily like just go around it. There was nobody on the road. It was the middle of the night, and like we were saying earlier, it was a level 3 snow emergency, which in our area means you can't be on the road unless you're an emergency vehicle. And as plow drivers, we classify as emergency vehicles in those situations. According to the cops, that's what they said. So, but anyway, so we were out. I was driving home to get that, and as I was driving down that road, all of a sudden I see headlights coming up towards me, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. It's the middle of the night. Nobody's supposed to be out anyway. This is strange. Didn't think too much of it. Like I was holding my lane, it was gonna be fine, no big deal. And then all of a sudden I'm coming up, and because it was still like the snow was still swirling, so it was still kind of hard to see. And all of a sudden there's a massive snow drift coming up in front of me. Like, oh shit. Because when I was gonna come into contact with the snowdrift was gonna be when that car that was coming towards me was gonna pass me. So there's no way that I could go around this snowdrift. And I knew that because my salt box in the truck was empty. So if you don't know, if you've got a plow in front of your truck and your salt box is empty, it's a lot easier to spin out. Because you got extra weight on the front, not as much weight in the back. So you're going to get less traction with those rear tires. And if you slam on the brakes, it's more likely that you're going to slide. If you hit the gas real hard, it's more likely that your tires are going to spin. So just challenges both ways with that. Not thinking about that, I started to hit the brakes to try to slow down. Knew there was going to be no way that I could slow down enough to let that car get fully past before I hit the snowdrift that was in the road. Had at that point a decision to make. Basically, try to go straight through the snowdrift and hope that everything went
Nothing bad
okay,
happens. Yeah.
or let the snowdrift push me into the road and hit this other car and definitely destroy that car that was coming towards me because that person that was coming up was flying. Like they were going at least as fast, if not faster than I was. Um, so head on collision, the front of their car straight to my plow. Would not have gone well for them. Wouldn't have gone well for me either, but definitely would have gone a lot worse for them.
You would have handled that a lot better with that plow in the front, because that was also, well, not exactly a flimsy plow
No,
either. That thing was freaking heavy.
Yeah, it was a very beefy plow. Um, so I decided to hit the snowbank, and I had turned my plow so that way it was going to shoot as much of the snow. So I had a straight blade with wings. I turned it so that it was going to shoot as much of the snow off the road as possible, and just hit that snowbank head on. But as I hit it, I lowered the plow to the ground to try to slow the truck down. As I was like coasting into this snowdrift. So lowered the plow, hit the snowdrift. Snow comes flying over the front of the plow, completely covers my windshield, complete whiteout. Can't see anything. It's like I'm under an avalanche of snow at this point because it's just flying everywhere. Um, I knew that it was going to try to pull me off the road because of the way I angled the plow. At the same time, because I was hitting the snowbank, it was trying to push me into the road. So like the pile of snow is trying to push me in, but the way it's hitting the plow is trying to pull me off at the same time. So it's like it's fighting opposite forces here. So I steer slightly off the road to make sure that I don't end up getting pushed into this other lane of traffic because I can't tell when that car passed me at this point. Um, so as I'm almost through the snowbank, all of a sudden I'm getting pulled off the road into the ditch towards that big field. And next thing I know, I'm completely sideways, just sliding sideways off the road into the ditch. Look out the driver window and see a big ass telephone pole coming straight towards the driver door. And I'm watching it like the angle that I'm drifting, I'm going straight towards the telephone pole. It's positioned just in front of my driver door. I'm not really going forward. I'm just going sideways at this point. Uh, as I'm getting closer to it, all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know, probably felt like 20 feet away, and I'm looking square at it. It's going to hit me straight in the middle of my door. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. Um, so I kind of lean into the center of the truck just to get away from the door as much as I can because it's about to hit me. And smack, slam right into this thing. But somehow, even though the whole time I'm watching it come straight from my driver's door, somehow it hits just behind the driver's seat. Like literally right behind the driver's seat.
Did you try to gun it or anything to miss it?
No. Like it was at that point, I don't know if my foot was on the brake. I don't know what my feet were doing.
All you were focused on was there's a freaking telephone pole.
It's going straight for me. I don't know what my feet were doing, but I definitely did not try gunning it. And at that point, like it was happening so fast. Even if I did, it wouldn't have like moved me enough. Like the speed I was going, just straight sideways. Like there was not like nothing I could do. Somehow hit behind me. Airbags didn't go off in the truck, which was weird.
Say the least.
And next thing I know, like I didn't black out, but I was definitely shaken up from it. Next thing I know, there's red and blue lights on. That car that was coming towards me was a cow. So
naturally, because going as fast as you were, you're in a heavier vehicle, 4-wheel drive, way on the front, so you could probably stop if you had to. So you're going to do something that someone else might be like, I'm not going to go as fast, but of course, cop would be going that fast.
Yeah, yeah. So he was the one hauling butt towards me. That was the vehicle that passed me. Um, Cop gets out. Um, it was an interesting interaction. That whole thing, but I end up climbing out my passenger door because my driver door won't open, and uh, ending up sitting in the cruiser with him. He wants to call a tow truck. I'm like, hey, my buddy's around the corner. We've got an equipment trailer. It The wheels are fine. Like it'll roll. It'll move. Uh, why don't I just have him come pull me out? Cup's like, okay, fine. Well, so call you, and you're like, what? And I'm like, hey, I wrecked my truck. Wait, what?
Change your attitude real fast.
Real fast. Real fast. Like, yeah, I wrecked my truck. I need you to grab the trailer and come get me. Like, okay, I'm on the way.
And mind you, basically, because as you said, that it's 30 mile plus 50 is a trailer covered in snow sitting outside, and somehow I have to get it hooked up.
Yep.
And I think it was at your house too, so I had to drive all the way to your house.
Yeah, did you drive to the house first or did you come straight there? I can't remember.
Well, I had to drive by that spot to get to your house.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if I stopped or
No, I think you got the trailer first because the cop said that we had to have the trailer there.
probably.
Yeah. So as that's going on, it was like 20 to 30 minutes as all of that's going on, and cops filling out his statement and all the paperwork. Ends up writing me a bunch of tickets. I think he got 3 or 4 tickets for that. I can't remember. Um, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But what does matter is one line in particular that he put in his statement was that I was plowing the public road. And that plays a factor in kind of like the tail end of the story.
Kind of a big factor.
Big factor. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, you get over there. We get the truck. We get it pulled out. Thankfully, truck still runs. At that point, we're not sure how messed up it is, but what we are sure of is my back driver's side door is crushed in halfway through the seat, if not more.
It was solid. The outside of the door, it's supposed to be outside the vehicle, is like an inch, or not an inch. Wow. A foot inside your cab.
Yeah, like the dent was big enough that I could stand and be like level with where the body
be flush where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. So it was crushed in. So that door wouldn't open. That window had broken. The driver window hadn't broken somehow. Really don't know how. But the driver door wouldn't open because of how it like pinched what the cab bent. So got that pulled out into a parking lot nearby, so we could load it up on the trailer. With the plow on, we were like, how are we gonna load it? And after kind of like evaluating it in the parking lot, we decided to just drive it to the shop. So I hopped in, drove it over to the shop, so you did all that work in the trailer for nothing. Got it around the corner to the shop. We pulled it inside just to try to figure out like how messed up it was. At that point, we both thought the truck was totaled. Like,
it was probably pretty close, honestly.
Yeah.
If you'd taken it to some place to get it checked out and actually done all the work that was probably fully needed to done, they probably would have tried to total the truck.
Yeah. So that kind of started the wild process that followed. So I filed an insurance claim that night. And how soon was it when I heard back from them? Was it the next day or was it the day after?
Well, considering it was Christmas Eve, they probably weren't open on Christmas. So I think it was either the day after or the day after Christmas. Like, so 26th, 27th, somewhere in there.
Was that when it was? I feel like it was really fast. It all blurred together. I can't remember exactly when we heard back, but it was. No, I think it had to have been Christmas morning because it was before I went and got that other truck.
I can't remember exactly on when they sent that message, but it was definitely. I think you were already being proactive and trying to find something because you're like, well, I don't think I can actually plow in this truck now. So I think you were actively looking for a different truck.
Like, okay, that could be. Anyway, we got a message from the insurance company denying the claim. The reason was your insurance doesn't cover plowing public roadways, which is true. But I wasn't plowing public roadway. However, in the officer's statement, it said that I was. So, however long that process took, they denied the claim and then immediately canceled my insurance policy the same day. So now it's a couple days after Christmas or Christmas, somewhere in there. My commercial liability and auto policy just got canceled. We've got another snowstorm coming. I've got no insurance and no truck because at that point, we both thought there's no way I could drive that truck and go plow with it.
Because even on the short trip back to the shop, just literally like a mile down the street, you were like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. So Christmas Day, opened gifts with my kids and wife at home. And then right after that, hopped in the SUV and drove to about an hour and a half away to get the shittiest truck. But it came with a snowplow. And he said it worked, even though it didn't. Well, it kind of did. It did, and then it didn't, and then it did, and it did. So
the truck always started.
The plow sometimes would go up,
and sometimes it would go only left.
Yeah,
and then sometimes only go right. And then sometimes it would do all of it, but not drop.
And then the lights worked, unless it was nighttime. Then they didn't work.
Needless to say, that truck had some serious gremlins in it.
Yeah.
The truck always started, and it moved. But that plow in front.
That plow was off.
On its own.
So I drove out there with my dad, bought the truck because it was what I could afford at that point in time. Like this was around Christmas time. We had yet to get any of the guaranteed money from any of our snow contracts, and we had a crappy winter to that point. Like we had maybe 3 or 4 events in early December, but nothing before that, and all of our billing was either flat rate or net 30, net 45 terms. So,
not to mention we had to fill it container with salt.
Yeah. So, absolutely horrible time to buy a truck, and was not in a position at that point to go finance a truck. So it was whatever I could afford in cash, which was this cheap piece of crap truck. Got it back that hour and a half drive. Realized how many problems it had, and was very concerned about how in less than 24 hours I was going to be plowing snow with that truck. Thought we could make it work. And then the plow stopped working again.
I think the trip all the way back was actually quite uneventful because you showed up at night.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one day that the headlights decided to work at night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I remember.
Well, one of the plow headlights went out on the way back, and I thought the bulb had burnt out. I was like, okay, no big deal. Go buy a halogen bulb. Whoop-de-doo. Wasn't the bulb.
It was definitely something else.
Yeah. And then After that, when I needed it to work was when it started having problems.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a couple hours before that storm came in. We were trying to figure out if I was going to be able to put a salter in the bed of this truck because it was so old and not in great condition. I was really worried about it.
I think there was talk of plywood in bed just in case.
Yeah. Decided not to put a salter in the bed. Instead, we put all of the sidewalk salt in the bed to weigh it down.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just going to send it and make it work. Went to do a test plow at the shop, and that was when the plow stopped working for the final time. And that became the moment of like, well, shit. Now what? Just spent this money on this truck that's not working. We've got another storm coming in. Have to get it done. And thankfully, you had gotten your plow fixed for now. Weren't sure how long that was going to last. Had no time to even try to figure out what was going on with the plow and the new truck that we just bought. I just bought. And then I had this wrecked truck. And
Columbus.
So, against my better judgment, decided to hop into that wrecked truck. Plowed through that storm, as sketchy as it was, and then continued to do that for about another month.
And if I remember correctly, one of the biggest things, because we would have, because we had tried multiple walkie-talkies, and every time it snowed, you couldn't get the walkie-talkie to go any distance.
Mm-hmm.
I think we even got like 10-mile range, and it still didn't work. So the easiest way to do it would be on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, depending on where you're going and some of the areas that we were in,
so yeah, real sketchy.
You're gonna sit on the phone, and if something were to happen, we're not too far away from each other.
Yeah.
But the number one thing I remember you saying is, "I'm freezing my ass off in here."
Yeah. So because the back window had broken, and the cab was so bent, there was like a 6-inch wide hole, like on the between the bottom of the door and the cab.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had duct taped that window to try to seal some heat in, and then I was shoving towels in the gaps. And then where it bent under the driver door that wouldn't open, there's a big old gap under the driver door too.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like I just had a cold draft coming in right under my ass the whole time. So I was wearing like these big, thick coveralls, trying to stay at least somewhat warm. But the truck drove real sketchy, but we made it work. Got through those next few storms with that. And then ended up fixing another truck that we had that was broken at the time. Got that up and running. Broke the driver window on that by accident the day we fixed it. That's another story. And that whole saga of the blue truck really concluded with you and I doing a full cab swap on that truck because insurance denied the claim.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a cab off of a wrecked truck. Cab was fine.
Ish. Yeah. There was only one section in particular that was actually a little bit screwed up.
But we didn't know that.
And we couldn't figure that out until we started putting body pants back on.
Yeah. So we thought it was fine. They said it was fine. And they said that it was a rear impact. It was definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It might have been part of it, but there could easily have been something that happened in the front.
Yeah.
The front.
Well, that explains why we didn't get the front clip with the cab.
That's true.
Yeah. So, full cab swap, which on those Ram trucks, so this was a 2017 Ram 2500. And on those Ram trucks, those frame horns come all the way out on that front clip and mount everything to the front of the truck together. So had to disconnect the radiator, the AC, the heater core, everything that goes through the firewall to take half the damn truck apart.
Half?
Okay, 2/3 of the truck apart.
The only thing they didn't take apart was the frame and the engine. The whole wiring harness had to come out, all the interior,
the steering column, the drive shaft.
Everything came, all the body panels, the bed had to come off.
Because we had to take the drive shaft out to get the transmission shifter to release.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get it to release. We couldn't get access to it with the drive shaft there. So, yeah.
The only thing we had left was we had a rolling chassis with an engine in it. And transmission, obviously. Yeah. But that was, no, it was literally like taking an entire truck off the top.
Mm-hmm.
And just stripping it all out.
Yep.
And then
putting it all back together.
And if I remember correctly, it took 2 months for us to even get started putting it back together.
Yes.
So of course we had forgotten where all stuff goes.
Yep. Yep. Just ran out of time, and then by the time we had time again in the schedule to go back to it, it was just all these other things that got in the way. So finally got it put back together though, and got it running. Painted and all of that because it was a blue truck and then the cab was white. So yeah.
So it turns out to be like a green gray military-ish kind of.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet.
It was pretty sweet. Yeah. Through that process, learned a ton. But it was super eventful, and I think for me, the thing that, like, the takeaway from it was through all of those situations, like every step along the way, we had choices of giving up and saying, this is just too hard. There's not a solution to these problems.
Yep.
And dealing with the consequences of that, which at the time would have been losing out on money from guaranteed contracts, damaging our reputation, from not fulfilling the work.
Which, up to that point, really wasn't that bad either.
Well, and even after that point, like, somehow, like, except for that storm, we had no complaints that entire season. Except for that storm and one other storm where
we were helping somebody else out.
Yeah.
And that was another storm where basically that everyone got caught with their pants down.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be a dusting, salt run only. We didn't even have plows on the trucks. Like, no one had plows on the trucks.
And we woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember who called who, or it was a combination effort of,
we're screwed. Because we had done the salt run. Everyone from, our team, our company, and all of the other subcontractors that we were working with under this larger umbrella company, we all were at home. And then everyone's getting woken up at like 3 in the morning. It's still freaking snowing. We got to start plowing.
And I'm pretty sure that at midnight, when everyone had finished their first pre-salt and everything else, everyone was expecting, it's fine, we'll say it's going to die out.
Like the snow is going to stop in like 30 minutes after that. It was going to be totally fine.
We were all on the same page of, it's fine. You don't have to worry about it.
But so those were like the storm where I wrecked my truck, and then that storm where that winter, you and I did 2 massive office buildings and 33 schools?
Except for the time that we added 20
when we helped
them.
Yeah.
So, we did 2 big, huge office parks, basically, like massive 20-plus acre.
Yeah, the one was like 18 acres, and the other one was 25 acres of pavable or of plowable parking lot.
And then we had was it 33 or was it? I don't remember exactly. All I know is that in that one storm that we got another complaint, which is totally understandable. We basically added 50% more of ones we were doing because we were helping.
Yeah, we were helping somebody who didn't have a plow driver to run a truck in exchange for using their truck for that storm. And So it was another 15 to 20 schools, and plus everything that we already had. Insane amount of work. Like everyone else was running 4 or 5 plow drivers for the volume that we had, at least. And you and I were doing it, the two of us and an unreliable sidewalk guy. Like, just crazy amount of crap that we were getting done.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so that those were the risks, though. We got off on a big tangent there, but what I was saying before that was like, I think the biggest lesson was the around every one of those challenges, we could have said, no, this is too much. We can't continue through this. I can't find the solution to this problem. I quit. I give up, and deal with the consequences. Or we can do what we did and just keep pushing through, even when it didn't seem like there was any possibility of getting to the goal at the end of the tunnel. Even when it seemed like there was no hope. When it seemed like impossible tasks in front of us, like plowing with a wreck truck or doing an entire cab swap on said wreck truck. Like, crazy shit. But we were able to push through and get it done. And I feel like that's a common theme in a lot of the difficult memories that I have is resilience and systems, like those two things.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that we didn't talk about with that whole story is the fact that if we had better systems in place at that point, we wouldn't have been in the situation where we were. We were up for 2 or 3 days at a time, where we're running too little equipment because everything was broken down and way too much workload. If we had put in place systems that we ended up putting in place later, already at that point, it would have been much easier to get through. And
we had some of those also before. It's almost like we forgot.
Yeah.
Because we had it before, and we didn't have it then, but then we had more after. It was literally like that time of just like someone forgot to fully think, and we just kind of sent it.
But in the end, like, that was the mess that we made.
Mm-hmm.
So it was our responsibility to push through, even though it was going to be difficult. That's what we did. We made it happen.
It was basically like it's do or die, and we're just going to make you do it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have another option, so you might as well just do it.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's really all I got. It's just kind of that wild ass story of some of the just shit that we had to go through to get where we are now. Through that just little period. And I think the big takeaway again is just resilience. Like, that's what makes a difference. It's how you respond to those challenges. And do you decide to find a way or make one? Or do you decide to throw in the towel and take the easy way out?
Which I think we have found, at least on our way, that the easy way is definitely not worth it long term.
Yep.
Can we make it a little bit easier on ourselves? Definitely. Because we didn't exactly choose the easiest way. But the things you go through and the things you learn make you who you are. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
May not feel like it's worth it in the beginning, but
in the end, the payoff's there. As long as you keep pushing through. Yeah.
Take the lessons and
do
put it into. Yep.
Sweet. I think that's a great point to end it.
I think so too.
Sweet. Catch you guys on the next one.